This video is sponsored by Magic Spoon cereal.
Do you like cereal?
I eat cereal. I don't eat breakfast every day, but I eat cereal when I do.
I eat cereal every day.
All right, okay.
Yeah. Magic Spoon has become a new favourite.
Really?
Yeah. It's favourite flavour.
That's my
cocoa
favourite flavour. Yeah, well, that's the one, isn't it? That's the cocoa. It's always got to be cocoa or chocolate.
Yeah. What better way to have a start your day than a cocoa cereal?
Did you know that Magic Spoon is keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, wheat-free? Nothing artificial whatsoever. And it's like childlike cereal, but for grown-ups.
It's for grown-ups, yeah. I mean, like I say, it's one of my new favourite cereals at the moment. It's good, isn't it?
I'm not really doing milk at the moment, that's why it's dry.
This box contains more protein than a dozen eggs.
What? So what sort of deal can people expect?
Well, what you do, you go to magicspoon.com/blokes and you get $5 off your order.
Nice. So also, we're going to put a QR code below that people can scan, and I'm pretty sure that'll take you where you need to go as well. In case you can't remember, magicspoon.com/blokes.
Scan for your scran.
Scan for your scran. I like it. Hi guys, welcome to Office Blokes React. I'm Office Bloke Dave.
Office Bloke Mike, £1.50. Patreon and all that. Malice to the Palace. I'm Office Bloke Daz.
Together we are all of the Office Blokes.
Yep. Mike's here.
R.I.P. M-I-K-E. Yeah, Office Bloke Mike is taking some
Mike dropped.
much needed time off because he doesn't do enough of that. And we're going to be covering at least a video. There'll be a video of Mike every day. Don't worry about that for the next week.
So he's not dead?
No, we pre-recorded in the event of Mike's death. You break the glass and there's a DVD that's got
a few of his
10 Mike reactions on it just in case.
Got you.
Just so we can milk him for everything he's got. But yeah, that's all I've got to say about that.
He's crowd surfing.
Naked crowd surfing. We can't show the picture on YouTube, unfortunately.
Someone sent it to me. I can't remember who sent it to me now. It was a long time ago, but I still go back to it because it's the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Can you show stuff like that on Discord?
I don't know, but I should do because it's funny.
It's
proper funny.
Anyway, right, the top 10 rudest countries. Who's going to feature, do you reckon?
Rudest? Is that for like arrogance and like?
I don't know. I found like
rudest countries I've been to.
When I was in the States, everyone was one of the politest countries I've ever been to in my life. Some of the like Austrians can be a bit standoffish a little bit, but I think it's just France definitely.
Got me number one, France.
I think us and France are very similar though. Yeah. I think we're basically close cousins. The shared history we've got. I think
Saudi Arabia.
Are people quite rude in Saudi?
It can be, but if you get talking to someone, I remember seeing someone on a plane once. Just sat next to me, sort of thing, having a chat. And I went, "That's a nice watch." That he went, "Take it." I went, "I want to take it."
I think
have it. It's yours.
Wasn't it Russell Peters that told the whole story about that though?
Oh really?
And I think it's a Saudi thing where they give you the watch.
Yeah, they do, yeah.
And especially if you point it out and compliment it, then people will just be like, "Take it."
Yeah, he's like, "It's yours." Yeah, I'm like, "I don't want it, mate." It was like a Rolex as well, sort of thing. It wasn't like a shitty watch. You know what I mean?
So, "Oh, cheers, mate." And when he puts another one on, you go, "Nice watch, that."
Big row of arm.
Yeah, just fill your wrist. I think France have got to be on there. I think the UK might be on there.
We're rude.
I think we're friendly, but as an outsider coming to the UK, weather's shit. Everyone's got their heads down. A lot of what people say about New York, you know, that people get their heads down and just get on with it, I think is a UK cultural thing as well.
Sure.
Let's find out, though. Top 10 rudest countries. Let's do it.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to The World According to Briggs and an international video. Today we're looking at countries where tourists say the locals are rude. I read a blog about this subject where a guy said every time he went to Germany, he ran across nothing but rude and unfriendly people. He listed a few other countries he felt were almost as bad as Germany, but he said Germany was the worst. So that got me thinking, and I ran a poll where I listed 40 of the most visited countries.
They should caveat this with what the person looks like that is the victim of being rude to. Yeah. Because there's certain countries that are horrifically racist, even quite modern countries.
Wow, I've been to a few.
It's like, allegedly, I don't know, but in China, they're not very fond of black people.
Yeah.
So, like, as a black guy going over there, maybe you'd get a different experience to, like, a a white Western
Absolutely,
guy or something.
absolutely. But Germany, I mean, I guess it's people's opinions of how you behave yourself.
Yeah.
In a lot of places where
Yeah.
you go, you know what I mean?
Yeah, your culture's got a lot to say with it. If like some people, it's really offensive to show your feet, and you may go to a country and find people are rude because you got your feet out.
I can't think of anywhere I've been where someone's been rude to me.
People are
But
generally
I'm
nice
not-
everywhere, aren't
Yeah,
they?
but I'm not that sort of person. Why would you be rude to me? You know what I mean? You've got to give someone a reason to be rude to you,
True.
haven't you?
Yeah.
And asked travelers to pick the 3 countries they felt the locals were the most rude. I also listed the top 15 on a few different polls on the community section of this channel, and this is what we found. Number 10, the Greeks. Greece is one of the oldest countries
Wow.
still going. They offer tourists ancient ruins, great islands, amazing beaches, gyros, and a steady helping of FU go back where you came from. Around 30 million people visit Greece every single year. The government and shop owners love that. The locals aren't always on board with it. They have a reputation of being rude. I don't think it's always as rude as people might think. A lot like here in the United States, Greece, they have a tendency to talk a lot with their arms and a little too close for American and let's say British standards. You know, they get a little too close when they're talking. And I think a lot of Westerners or people from North America kind of view this as them being rude. Now, granted, like all countries, they have some rude people.
I was actually there this year,
You were, weren't you?
right there. Yeah, well, last year. Now,
My mum's been quite a lot, and she said it was really nice. Like,
Greece is
people were
like-
friendly.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, you've got to give someone a reason to be rude to you. I've never had an issue anywhere, apart from Saudi Arabia, where they were just blatant rude
Yeah.
because they thought it was gay.
Really? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Were you wearing a pink t-shirt?
I was
at
wearing a
the
pink
time?
shirt, yeah.
Wow. I think that's on you for wearing a pink shirt, to be fair.
Well, I don't think so.
People that are just rude. But I think a lot of their reputation comes from that. 37% of the people surveyed had Greece listed as one of the 3 rudest countries. Number 9, the Turkish. Yeah, Turkey's got kind of a reputation for having rude residents. Like Greece, they have a lot of history going on here. Istanbul, which used to be Constantinople, played a big part in the Crusades. This is where a lot of the European crusaders passed through to go to the Middle East and cause all kinds of problems. And Constantinople served as an imperial capital for almost 16 centuries. All the way back to the Romans, the Byzantines, the Ottomans, they all had this place as their capital. Turkey offers a lot more outside of Istanbul. They've got a lot of history here, a lot of great things to see. Turkey sees around 50 million visitors a year. Actually, in 2019, before the pandemic, they hit 52 million. So they see a lot of people going through here, and not everyone's on board with how cool they are there. 41% of the respondents had Turkey as one of their 3 countries with the rudest locals.
Huge tourism industry, though, isn't it?
It's massive. It's I've been to Turkey many times. Went on my honeymoon to Turkey, and it's kind of I get what people mean, but again, you've got to embrace culture, and it's
Just a
when you
different
go
way
to-
of doing
you
things.
go to a certain country, you just got to get involved and be a part of the local community.
Or just get your teeth or your hairline done.
That's what Turkey's about.
Was it you that showed me the all the women flying back from Turkey, and they're all down on their knees on the plane because they've all had bum lifts and they can't sit down? Absolute madness, isn't it?
Yeah.
I've never been to Turkey. I know loads of people that have, though, and they've all come back saying a few people have come back and said it's not for them in terms of a few people got ill. Like, I think there was issues with food for a couple of people, but most people I know that have gone there have said it's great.
Yeah, I've been to different
nice.
parts. I've been to the holiday parts. Obviously, I went on my honeymoon to a holiday part.
Yeah.
And then I've been for business, and I've been to like Izmir and Istanbul, places like that.
Yeah.
And it's busy as fuck.
Yeah.
It's proper busy. Yeah. And Istanbul especially, rammed.
Yeah.
Number 8, Italians. I mean, how can these people be so rude? They got pasta, pizza, they got all the good food here. In my opinion, Italian food ranks right behind Mexican food. Yeah, that's just me. Maybe if I grew up in Europe, I'd feel the opposite about that. But Mexican food, then Italian food. That's how I see it. Italy has some of the most amazing cities to see. Think about it. Rome, Milan, Venice, Florence, San Marino, which actually isn't part of Italy, it's its own country. Yeah, most people don't know that Italy has a small country inside of Italy. It is San Marino, and it is east of Florence and south of Venice.
And Vatican.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen some of the canals in Venice are practically empty at the moment?
Oh, really?
They're having a drought.
Oh, really?
Apparently, yeah. I get the Italians. To be fair, I had a boss that was an Italian years ago, and he was a great guy. He was not whatsoever like that. But a lot of stereotypical Italians, it's definitely their way. You know what I mean? Like, especially in a restaurant, if you make the mistake of asking for something that isn't how the food is supposed to be done.
Yeah.
But that's like they want their culture to be represented, I think. The fiery people, though, they're lively.
Yeah.
Italy sees over 90 million tourists every single year, at least in the last 10 years. That's about what they see, over 90 million. That dropped down considerably during the pandemic years, but in normal times, they see about 90 million people. And a good percentage of those people apparently think the Italians are rude. Italians actually have a reputation for being rude. I mean, they didn't invent the middle finger, the Greeks did, but the Italians, they sort of perfected it. In Milan, they actually have a statue of the middle finger pointing at the Italian Stock Exchange. Not even kidding, here it is. For a country that invented banks, they really don't like bankers too much. 41% of the people listed Italians in their top 3 rudest locals. Number 7, the Spanish. This one caught me by surprise. I know quite a few Spanish people. They have never been anything but friendly and nice. But apparently, if you're a tourist in their homeland, they're not too keen about it. I was reading one travel blogger, and he said that it's mostly the younger kids, younger people, I should say, the 30 to 20 to their teens. They're the people that don't like a lot of tourists. The older people sort of like it, or at least they like the money that's being brought in from the tourists. I find this one a little strange. I don't know if it's accurate, from my experience, I should say. But apparently, if you go by the survey and the polls, the Spanish people aren't too keen on people coming to Spain. Spain sees about 70 million visitors a year, and 45% of the people surveyed had Spain as one of their 3 countries with the rudest locals.
That's an interesting one, that I think. I've been to Spain a lot and always found really good service, really nice people.
Yeah.
It's rare I'll try and, because I don't really know much Spanish, it's rare I'll communicate that much, but I find a lot of people try and speak English to you.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
I've always found it really friendly, Spain.
Yeah, I've never had it. To be fair, I've not had issues in any of these countries so far. I get the Turkey one. I understand that.
Yeah.
Spain and Italy, I don't get.
I think Italians can be quite loud and gregarious, and I think that might to some people come across as rude. Talk with the hands in your face.
Yeah.
But yeah, Spain, I absolutely love it.
Number 6, the Chinese. Now, I couldn't tell you personally,
Before we get into it, have you been to China?
Yeah.
You have? Mm-hmm. What was your experience?
They try and talk to me in China. I got in a taxi once in Shanghai, and I just gave him a card to where I was going, and he started talking to me. I went, mate, wrong guy. And he just carried on talking to me in Chinese.
Really?
Yeah, I was just sat there and listened to him for about 25 minutes. I'm like, I don't know if he's singing or talking to me or what. I don't know. He kept looking at me.
Was the points where he kind of stopped with an upward inflection and just looked at you like...
Yeah, asking for a response. Yeah,
Yeah,
he was telling me something about. I think he was showing me around, like explaining buildings or whatever.
Right,
I was just
right.
like, hey, no one understand what you're saying.
Yeah, not a clue.
No idea.
Whether this is correct or not, I'm going by the survey on this one. I've never been to China. I know some Chinese people, not very well, but the survey says that they're pretty rude to the locals. I did a little reading, and apparently you go into the rural areas and they really like you. If you get in the cities and stuff, they're kind of rude and abrupt to foreigners. But the locals in the rural areas, they're almost happy to have you. 46% of the people surveyed had China as one of the 3 countries with the rudest locals. Number 5. Americans. Yes, the United States is number 5. I know a lot of people from other countries probably just gasp. How could they be number 5? Shouldn't they be number 1? No, we're really not that rude when you're coming here to be a tourist. I mean, if you end up in the wrong place, like New Jersey, you'll probably think differently of us, but for the most part, in most of the country, people are pretty decent in the tourist areas. Not just New Jersey, you might want to add Hawaii onto that. Hawaii's not too keen even about other Americans coming to that state. Now, if you consider gun violence rude, yeah, we're hella rude then, because we got a lot of that here in the United States, in case you don't know and you're from another country. That's like my advice to anyone coming to the United States from another country. Make sure you know where the dangerous neighborhoods are. I mean, any neighborhood has the potential to be dangerous, but we have some that if you don't know about them, could be a serious mistake. So keep that in mind. You should know little things like go see St. Louis. The arch is neat and all that's really cool. Don't go see East St. Louis. Don't make that mistake. Go see downtown Detroit. Don't go outside of downtown Detroit and you'll be fine. Go visit Chicago. Just don't go too far south from what they call the Loop, which is the downtown area of Chicago. Things like that. 51% of the people surveyed had the United States as one of their 3 countries with the rudest locals.
Stereotypical.
I think a lot of it's possibly going to be people having preconceived ideas. You know, like maybe if you're Spanish and you've had Americans come over to you, culturally you might think they're a bit loud and rude. But in like when I've been to America, I've always found like practically everyone has been so friendly, so nice.
I think when you're doing polls like this, I think it's more of they're not an opinion based on a small demographic.
Yeah.
You could go to China, have the best time. You go to the USA and have the shittiest time. You know what I mean? Where people are rude and start giving you grief for whatever you do.
But I think the service industry's got a lot to say when it comes to tourism, and it's one of the best service industries in the world.
It's probably the best.
If you want people to be friendly. So if you're a tourist and you go and sit in a cafe and the wait staff are just really nice to you, that's a friendly place, isn't
Well,
it?
he's in New Jersey. He's talking about New Jersey then, saying that putting that. I lived in New Jersey for 10 years. I never had an incident. Never. So it's opinion based, isn't it?
Yeah. And also like he touched on a minute ago was the areas knowing, you know, but it's like anywhere. If you go to any major city in the world, there's the bad bits.
Well, the major cities are always people in a rush. You know, they think they belong there. It's their city.
Yeah.
You know, even if they're not from there, it's they work there or live there. And it's like, I'm in a rush. Don't talk to me.
Yep.
Then I'm going to be rude to you. Then that's the way things are in any city, any big city. You got London.
I got
Speak
like
to a
that.
proper London.
I was like that when I lived in Manchester.
Yeah.
You know, because as soon as I walked out my front door, thousands of people just going like that. And after a year and a half of that, I was like, try and talk to me in the street. You could be saying, "Excuse me, mate, your shoes untied," and I'd be like, "Nope," just walk past.
Yeah. And that's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Number 4, Russians. Russia's another country that has people that I think sort of get a bad rap. Because it's their culture and the way they do things, it doesn't jive with a lot of, especially Western countries and their citizens. Russians are very to the point and very blunt about everything. There's no like gray areas with them most of the time. And they don't sugarcoat much when they're talking to you. So a lot of people might think that's rude. The people that I know that have visited Russia, they're kind of 50-50 on it. Some say it was great. Some people say they were kind of rude and mean to them. So you don't know. But in the survey, 53% of the respondents had Russia as one of their top 3 countries with the rudest locals. Number 3, Germans. Yeah, Germans are rude and everybody knows it. They can't help it. They got a little that Russian thing going too, where there's no sugarcoating anything. It's very blunt, very to the point, very matter of fact. And like I said in the Russian part, that Westerners find that a little abrasive sometimes. My experience with Germans has never been good. The ones that I know, the ones that I've talked to online, they're always seem to be rude. It's like their thing. I don't know what it is. One thing I've always heard over and over, and I kind of got that vibe too, they always get that thing where they think they're better than everyone else. Now that's an opinion by a lot of people, not like a fact. There's no arrogance metric, you know? Germany normal years sees about 40 million tourists. And 61% of the people surveyed had Germany as one of their 3 countries that they felt had the rudest locals.
I've never been to Germany.
Love it. Love the place.
It's on my
Locals are
list.
Great. I've been to about, I don't even know how many cities, but I've been to a lot of football over there as well.
Yeah.
It's the best football away day to go to for a travelling fan.
Yeah.
Without a doubt, it's brilliant. I've been there for work. I've been there for pleasure. And I actually said to Gani yesterday, should we go back to Berlin? She went, I've been to Berlin. I don't know. I said, all right, let's go somewhere else then, in Germany. But Germany's one of them where it's, I mean, like I say, Berlin, Frankfurt, Munich, Stuttgart. I've been loads of places.
It's on my list of places to go. Like a long weekend in Berlin.
Yeah.
It's just
Berlin's
it's high
amazing.
on my list of things to do. But I've had a lot of interactions with Germans, like growing up in the UK, going camping and stuff. In the summer holidays as a kid, a lot of Germans love coming over to the UK and camping in Cornwall. I always just found them, again, nice, sociable people.
Same.
They won't, if you find yourself sat in a pub or a bar next to a German, you're going to end up talking to them because they just will not have it any other way. They'll just talk to you, won't they?
Yeah, I went away with Gaynor and we met a German guy and a German couple. Spent the whole time with them, like we were away for a few days, and they didn't speak English and I don't speak German, but we had a great time together.
Yeah.
So you don't even need to speak the language. Common language was cheers.
Our thing with the Germans is we said have not got as much of a sense of humour.
And the best sense of humour.
To some people, that could come across as being rude if they're just blunt and not laughing all the time.
I love Germany, mate. Brilliant place.
Number 2, the British. Now this is amazing because of all the...
I'm annoyed that
mad
someone...
we're not number 1.
I know, yeah, I was just about to say
well
that.
angry.
Yeah.
I can't think it's got to be the French, hasn't it?
The thing is also the people, if the way people have voted on this is he's gone out to his community tab and said, everyone tell me your 3 rudest countries, most people are just going to comment on countries they've been to.
Yeah.
So because there's a big tourism industry in the UK, Germany, France, Spain, they're going to be high on the list. But yeah, I think we should be number 1.
And I think the other side of it as well is when people go for rudeness in England. I get it. The British are rude. Not up north, they're not. Down south, they are.
I think we're nicer up north, but you can still go and get heckled in the street in the middle of Manchester by a spice head or
that's what I want,
some little rude boy that's
surely though that's a part of your everything that goes with it.
Yeah,
you know it's like we've just been to the pub at lunchtime. How much banter do we have with? How many people were in the pub? 20 people in the pub.
Yeah,
and we had banter with pretty much every one of them.
Yeah,
on the way in and on the way out. Of making fun.
Yeah, you're right.
It wasn't rude.
No, but then our sense of humour is also quite dark and sarcastic. So people who don't get our sense of humour may come over here, get a bit of banter in a pub or whatever, and be a bit upset by it, thinking that you actually are calling them an offensive name, not just like joking with them.
That they felt had the rudest locals. Number 2, the British. Now this is amazing because of all the people surveyed, the number 1 country of origin of people that said the British were the rudest were the British. Yeah, the UK says British are the absolute rudest people in other countries. It's like these people know how they are and they just own it. I've always heard the phrase ugly Americans when they're talking about Americans going to other countries and being tourists and how we're just rude and stupid and everything else like that. But apparently it's the British are even worse than us. 63% of the people surveyed had the United Kingdom in their top 3 for rudest locals.
We do also have a bit, depending on where you go, a bit of a shit service industry. And again,
it's appalling.
Again, as a tourist, if a lot of the people you're interacting with are waiters, waitresses, just like people involved in that industry, and you've got some miserable kid that's serving the beers that's just like, put a pint down in front of you, you're going to associate that with being rude, aren't you?
Possibly, yeah. But I think if you get out there and be a part of the British culture, if you come and visit England, there's no way Brits are not. I mean, saying the number 2 on that list of the rudest countries,
we're not. But we are very self-deprecating. And if he said a lot of people are Brits that are voting for Britain,
But if you go to, don't associate the UK with just London, because London is rude.
Yeah,
Londoners are rude.
I think one thing about people from the UK is if you need help or they see you in trouble, people will help.
I think most countries do that. I think most countries come together for things like that.
Yeah.
But I think with like I say, if you go down London, they are rude. If you come to the north, not rude.
Yeah.
It's a southern thing.
Yeah, so when you get to, where do you have to get to?
Stoke.
Knutsford Services.
Knutsford Services,
yeah.
20 minutes out of here. France.
All right, before we get to number 1, don't forget at the end of
it's
this
going to be
video,
France.
we have these little things where the algorithm suggests other of my videos that you should watch. Why don't you click on one and see if the algorithm's correct. All right, on to number 1. And number 1, the French. The French have a legendary reputation for being rude. There have been jokes about how rude the French are since forever. Everybody knows it. It's in jokes. They do things about how rude the French are in movies. There was a movie with Dudley Moore years ago where he played an ad executive who had like a breakdown and started telling the truth, and he created an ad that everyone loved. It showed an Italian woman cooking some pasta and said, "Come to Italy, we're nice. We're not like the French." And it showed a guy with a beret flipping the camera off. So that kind of gives you an idea. Now, don't take that as an opening because I made a reference to a movie that shows how something's a stereotype. For some reason, whenever I mention a movie, that's like someone's defense. Oh, he's basing his opinion off a movie. No, that's called an antidote. My opinion is just like the rest of the world's opinion on the French. They're frickin' rude. They got some good wine, though. You gotta love their wine. In 2018, France saw 89 million tourists. Now, their target for 2020 was 100 million, but the pandemic kind of set that sideways. We'll see if they get their 100 million here in the next couple of years now that we're getting out of the pandemic. 71% of the people surveyed had France in their top 3 countries with the rudest residents.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
I love France.
I've been a couple of times, but at the same time with France, I know about 3 French people. It's probably the least nationality I know people of. I know more people from other countries than I do France.
I've known a lot of French people, but I never get to know them very well. They don't become what I'd consider a friend.
The mad thing is the 3 French people I know are really funny.
Really?
I mean, hysterically funny.
I spent a lot of time in France, whether it's like in the Alps snowboarding or, you know, like we've done sort of northern France, Normandy and places like that quite a lot. And I agree that they are very rude, but I think they're rude in the same way that the British are. I do think France and Britain, because we've got centuries and centuries of shared history of invading each other, our royals marrying each other.
I think it's sarcastic humour.
I think so, but I think we also, like something the French do, like most of us learn French in school over here, and then when you go to France and try and speak it, they just look at you like you're an alien.
Yeah.
They just don't give you any credit for trying. They just look at you like you're butchering my language, you scumbag. Yeah. And that's people in the UK do that a little bit as well. Not as bad as the French. We do applaud people for trying a bit more than the
Someone
French.
comes up to me and tries to speak English. I mean, I know a few people who've not very good English in the first language, and they try and speak to me in English. I just try and help them.
Yeah, well, you do, don't you?
Yeah, and get along. You know, but I don't know. French. I knew French was going to be number one because
Absolutely.
they have you know. But like I say, the 3 French people I know, quite funny.
Similar to the Italians in a way, though, that they have their culture and they celebrate their culture a lot, and they'll defend their culture to the death. So if you're, like I've been in a restaurant in France and asked for vinegar, and the look the waiter gave me, and then he brought me over a little shot glass with a bit of vinegar in the bottom of it, and you know he was doing that just to spite me because he was offended that I'd asked for vinegar to put on the food.
Should have snorted it.
In the eye.
In the eye, yeah.
But I like the French though. I spent a lot of time there.
Yeah. It's one of them. It's like I say, it's very opinion based, isn't it?
Yeah.
Individual opinion based.
Yeah.
I don't find anyone rude like that. You know, if someone's rude to me, it doesn't matter what. That's like a dickhead. At the end of the day, innit?
Yeah. You're right.
Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that. Let us know in the comments who you think the rudest are, apart from us two. And we'll catch you on the next one.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.